Hey everyone, so today we actually are just going to be talking sort of beauty makeup tips. Now I probably mentioned excuse me, a lot of these before in other videos, but I thought I'd just condense them down. So let's just make a start. I know that some of you have heard this before, but hopefully you'll may pick up a few other things that you haven't heard. So let's just start with concealer. Now if you're talking about covering under eye circles that are darker here, then as far as I'm concerned, you should be using a pink or a peach based concealer, because these actually neutralize the undertone under the eye. So for me, I always use a peach or a pink concealer. Bobbi Brown do great correctors, and Eve Pearl does one of the best salmon concealers that I know of. So I've got a frog in my throat. So those two are the products that I use pretty much just exclusively under the eye. If you're looking at covering a blemish or something like that, birthmark, something that needs heavy coverage, the concealer absolutely has to match your skin tone. 2 shades lighter, pop it over a spot, you're just going to highlight that spot, so you don't want that. You want it to match your skin tone exactly. As far as foundation goes, you should almost always match it to your chest. Okay, because you want your chest and your face to be one. You want your body and your skin color to be as one. And this is where people make a lot of mistakes. Predominantly, women's chests are actually darker than their faces, so it makes more sense to match it here. If you're one of the rare examples where your chest is actually lighter than your face, then match it to your neck. Okay, because if you match it here and it's much lighter, you can look incredibly washed out. Obviously different types of foundation, there's liquids, there's creams. I tend to favour cream, but that's just my personal preference. I do like liquids. Makeup Forever HD liquid I very much like. Okay, let's talk blush. Now I absolutely never apply blush to the apples of the cheeks when they're smiling. Okay, the reason I don't apply it to the apples of the cheeks, is because when you smile, you create little lines. So first of all, it doesn't make the blush application that smooth. The second thing is when you smile, the apple of the cheek raises. We apply blush here, and then when we stop smiling, it drops. And it's sort of the blush that started up here when you were smiling ends up sort of here. And that's a trick that people use in theatre makeup to make somebody look older. We don't want to look old. You want your blush to be high up on the cheekbone area. That's where you want it. It looks youthful, it looks pretty, and it's a mini facelift. So always apply blush to the cheekbone. If you're confused of where to find it, put your finger here by your nose, or sort of on the apple, but about there. Put it to the top of the ear, slide it down, that's your cheekbone, and that's where you apply it. Simple. As far as blush colours go, Exhibit A by NARS is amazing and looks good on all skin tones because it's amazing. Otherwise, just pick one that you really like. They always say, you know, pinch your cheeks, that's the colour you should do, or the colour you go naturally when you flush. Not everybody looks good in that colour. Rosacea is a natural colour, but you don't want that on your cheeks. So find a colour that you like, and that's pretty. Let's talk beauty tips for the over 50s. Now this really isn't just for the over 50s, but I want to illustrate the point. And I did this on a tutorial just recently on a 70-year-old, so you'll be able to see that. And when you get older, you think, I can't use glitter, I can't use shimmer. Yeah, you can. What I do is I just apply a wash of eyeshadow all over the eyelid. This tends to work best on deep set eyes and a semi-hooded eye. So just apply a light colour of eyeshadow, nothing garish, just normal neutral shadow. I then line the eye right from the outside corner right the way in with standard liner, brown, black, whatever. And then take a glitter eyeliner gel, or if you just want to use glitter, that's fine, but the eyeliner gels are fine. Urban Decay does some good ones. And I line the sort of black line that I've just drawn in with this glitter eyeliner gel. In green, in purple, in blue, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like. Then curl your eyelashes and put mascara on, and you've instantly got these amazing glamorous eyes. They're not overdone because you've just lined the eye, that's it. You haven't got glitter from here to here, it's just on the eyelash. It looks amazing. Lana, if you're watching this, I would love you to demonstrate this because your eyes are beautiful and it will look amazing. But as I said, I have got a tutorial on a much older lady and it looks phenomenal. So that's a good tip. Okay, let's talk about some products that you see. Dermatologist tested. Remember, just because you see dermatologist tested on it doesn't mean the dermatologist liked it. It just means that they tested it. It doesn't mean anything. Non-comedogenic, which means it's not going to cause spots, is a completely useless term because you don't know who the product was tested on. It might have been tested on a 30-year-old woman who has never had spots in her life. So you're going to get much different results from somebody who suffers from acne than you are with somebody who never did. You don't know because they don't show you the tests. Useless words, so don't buy into any of that hype, okay? Exfoliants. We all need to exfoliate, or most of us, but some of us find that it's very difficult to use an exfoliant with BHA or AHA because it irritates our skin. If you've got very dry, very sensitive, you know, that sort of skin type, eczema, rosacea, you know it's sensitive, it's got problems, but you need to exfoliate, you want to, then buy a product that contains urea in it, because it's a little known, in fact hardly anybody knows this, but urea actually exfoliates the skin and it exfoliates it without being pH based, which alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy acids are. So if you've got that sort of skin type, urea is your new best friend. It moisturizes and it exfoliates and it's perfect. Going back to AHA and BHAs, they're pH balanced, they're pH, what's the word I'm looking for? The pH of them basically needs to be low in order for them to exfoliate. When you go above a 4 in terms of the exfoliants, they stop working. They become water binding ingredients, they become moisturizers. So the only two ways of doing it is if you know that it's going to exfoliate because it's got it written on the bottle, very few do, or get some pH strips from your chemist and go in there and test them. That's the only way you're going to find out. If it's over a 4, don't bother. Or use urea. It's that simple. Going back to foundation, I prefer to use 2 tones. I prefer to use a slightly darker one here on the cheekbone and then the one that matches more around the outer perimeter, because this tends to be where we get the redness and the ruddiness, and a darker colour covers that better, and when the whole thing is blended in you get a really nice sculpted look. And sculpted looks look amazing when photographed. If you're doing any photography makeup, don't ever use a foundation that has a sunscreen in because it reflects the light. It's the one time you don't want to have sunscreen on your skin. You definitely don't want it in your foundation. So for people doing weddings, you absolutely don't want that. As far as eyeshadows go, I was on a blog the other day and it's a very well-known sort of internet blog, and she did an eyeshadow look, very pretty, very nice, but the list of eyeshadows she used was huge. She probably, I think she used 9 eyeshadows. 9! I mean, it's ridiculous. You don't need 9, you don't need 4. I videoed a tutorial and I used 2 eyeshadows, one lighter colour on the lid, one darker colour on the outside, blended in. You don't need 100 eyeshadows, you really don't. Most of the time I use 3, that's it. It's fine if you're getting them free, it's fine if you've got them all, but if you don't have to go out there and buy them. We see these tutorials online and we see these pictures, we think we have to have all of this stuff, and you know, we really don't need it. The last thing is, don't believe the hype that you hear with regards to products. It's very rare to read an editorial when they say something is bad. Almost always they're saying it's good. Something to think about. Lastly, anti-aging creams don't work. If they did, the surgeon's knife and Botox and fillers and all those other things that can make a difference. I'm not saying you should do them, but they do make a difference. They wouldn't be around if these creams worked. So bear that in mind. We know what works, which is a good cleanser, a good exfoliant, and or a retin A cream and sunscreen. They're the basics and they will always work because they've been proven over and over again. Thanks for listening. I know I'm pretty speedy and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye bye.